Okay. So ano po yung pooch? A pooch is simply a dog. Okay? So you might be wondering, wow, may sariling category na dagdag lang yung aso. But yeah, especially in families who are crazy about their dogs, it's almost like the pooch is another member of the family. Okay, and the same thing was done for the campaign for MSNBC.com. They came up with a label for the people who they imagine would be the kind of people who would visit MSNBC, and they called this audience the News Explorer. Okay, because what they thought about was what SS plus K thought about is that the web surfer to CNN.com is different from the web surfer to MSNBC.com. Sa CNN.com, what they pictured psychographically is that this is the kind of person who wants to get to the news immediately, news kaagad. But when they thought about MSNBC.com, they pictured a person who explored the website first. And depending on what caught that person's interest, they might focus on that particular news, or maybe they could look at other things like features first before the news, lifestyle, that kind of stuff. So that's why they called this persons or these people the news explorer. Okay, so another tool. So earlier we had, what was the first tool we had? Prism NE. So now we have VALS 2. Okay, bakit siya VALS 2? So VALS 2, it stands for Values and Lifestyle System, VALS. My guess is this is the second version already of the system. That's why it's VALS 2. It was developed by SRI Consulting Business Intelligence. And what it does is it divides US adults into 8 groups. So there is a vertical dimension and there's also a horizontal dimension in this for these 8 groups. So vertically, it's divided by resources, including factors like income, education, energy levels, eagerness to buy, for example. And then horizontally, it's divided by self-orientation. So mas magiging klaro yan when we get to the next slide, what we mean by the vertical and the horizontal dimension. Okay. So in terms of the horizontal first dimension, so this is all about the 3 self-orientations. So we have principle orientation, status orientation, and action orientation. Okay, so let's talk about principle orientation. People or consumers who have principle orientation, when they buy things, what guides them in buying is a strong internal belief system. Okay? May prinsipyo, kaya nga principled orientation. And then pag status, it's very different. In status orientation, when you buy a product, it's because you're thinking, what will my peers think? What will my barkada think if I buy this shirt or if I use this cologne? So it's all about what the peers are thinking. So kaya nga status orientation. And the number 3, it's action orientation. So these people want to buy products because they take action. They want to create an impact on the world around them. So that's the first dimension of VALS or VALS 2, the horizontal, the self orientations. So it's principle, status, or action orientation. And then for the vertical dimension, we're talking now about resources. So the consumers can have either many resources, meaning sobra, or sufficient resources, tama lang, or few resources, medyo kulang na. So under many resources, we have only one. These are what we call the actualizers. So who are the actualizers? Camille, could you read, please? Who are the actualizers?
Actualizers, the top valves to group are successful consumers with many resources. This group is concerned with social issues and is open to change.
Okay, they're open to change and they're concerned with social issues. Then the third subgroup, ito yung mga taong may sufficient, hindi naman sobra-sobra yung resources nila. So first, we have the fulfilleds. So sino-sino ang mga fulfilleds? They are satisfied, they're reflective, they like to think about stuff, they're comfortable, they tend to be practical, and they value functionality. So when they buy an item, they're looking for function, not so much kung maganda yung itsura ng item. They're more practical. And then we also have number two, Chachu, number two, please. The achievers.
Achievers are career-oriented and prefer predict, uh, predict, predictability to risk or self-discovery.
Okay, thank you so much. So, ang focus ng achievers ay ang careers, and they don't like taking risks. Okay? They want to do things that are predictable. Yung sure sila sa magiging outcome. They try not to discover stuff. They like where they are. Their safe zone. Okay. And then experiencers. So experiencers are impulsive. They're young. They enjoy the offbeat, or not the usual thing that most people do, or risky experiences. Okay. So what do we have again? Actualizers, first category. The second grouping, we have the fulfilleds, the achievers, the experiencers. And then the last grouping, because there are eight in all, there are eight groups in all. So we have believers. So these are people with strong principles, sorry, and they favor proven brands. Kasi nga, they have few resources. They can't just randomly impulse buy stuff. So they favor proven brands. Ito yung mga Forever Colgate or Forever Manila Bulletin, yung mga subok na ng mga brands dating back to generations, no? And then we've got strivers. Ate Don, strivers po. Paano yung strivers?
Strivers are similar to achievers but have fewer resources. They are very concerned about the approval of others.
Okay. So, connected din siya dun sa principle kanina, yung status orientation. Because they care about the approval of others. Then makers, they are action-oriented. They tend to focus all their energies on self-sufficiency. So napaka-self-sufficient na mga taong to. Hanggat maaari, they won't ask for help in doing things. So these are the people who work on their own cars. Ayaw nila pa-check ng kotse sa mekaniko. They'll do it themselves. They can their own vegetables to preserve the vegetables for later use. They build their own houses. So they are very self-sufficient. They are self-made men or women, meaning everything they have, they work on and they achieve on their own through their own efforts. Okay. Then we've got strugglers. Paano naman po ang strugglers? Joms, please.
Sana ulit, Sam.
Number 4, Joms.
Strugglers are at the bottom of the economic ladder. They are most concerned with the meeting the needs of the moment and have limited ability to acquire anything beyond the basic goods needed
For survival. Okay. So sa strugglers, the struggle is real. Kasi sila yung parang nasa pinaka-ilalim na in terms of resources. So everything they purchase is basic goods needed for survival. Okay? They need to meet the needs of the moment. So they live on a day-to-day subsistence level. Kung ano lang yung kailangan para sa araw na ito, yun lang ang kanilang bibilhin. All right. So the VALS tool or the VALS segmentation tool helped the car company Isuzu to market their SUV, the Rodeo, and the Isuzu Rodeo sports utility vehicle. Based on the VALS 2 tool, they targeted the experiencers or the experiencers who believe it's fun to break rules. So pati yung ad campaign nila, it's all about showing a fun, hip lifestyle where you don't always have to follow the rules. That's how they marketed the car. All right? Okay, malapit na pong matapos, and then we'll have a very quick activity. So the last one is Brain Reserve. Okay, so the company Brain Reserve, they also have some cute acronyms or labels for different segments, and they base their categorization on life stages. So for example, hindi sila nakontento sa yuppies or young urban professionals. They came up with other acronyms like puppies. Sino yung puppies? Sila yung poor urban professionals, the puppies. And siguro may mga alaga silang aso because the next acronym are the woofs. Parang woof woof, the woofs. So who are the woofs? They are the well-off older folks, the woofs. Now, they also have a category called latchkey kids. So, paano yung latchkey kids? These are yung mga bata, they go to school, both parents are working, so when they come home from school, they're the only ones home. So, they're called latchkey kids because they wear like maybe a necklace, and at the end of the necklace is the key to the house, so they don't lose the key wherever they go. And yun nga, they come home, there's no one there, so they have to take care of themselves until their parents come back from work. So these are what we call the latchkey kids. And how about the sandwichers? Camille, paano naman ang mga sandwichers? Mahilig ba sa sandwich ang sandwichers?
Sandwichers, adults caught between caring for their children and their older parents.
Okay, salamat. So there are many sandwichers in the Philippines because in our culture, we take care of our parents until they're old. So there are some adults, they have kids, and they also have their parents living with them. So they're sandwiched between those two concerns. Okay. And then the next one sounds like a brand of peanut butter, Skippies. So Skippies are school kids with income and purchasing power. So ito yung mga yayamanin, may mga pera sila. They have income and purchasing power. And they also make money as well. No, that's another possibility. Maybe they're not rich, but they have a job, maybe a part-time job. So they have their own income and therefore they have their own purchasing power. Okay. Then there's also global kids. Chachu, sino ang mga global kids? Who are they? Global kids.
Kids with strong feelings about the environment plus strong influence over family purchase choice.
Okay. Yung first part, strong feelings about the environment. You can Google Greta Thunberg or Greta Thunberg. She is an activist and she's a teenager. She cares very strongly about the environment. Taga Sweden si Greta. And then we also have strong influence over the purchasing power. Minsan ang tina-target are the global kids because once you convince them or persuade them to purchase something, then they'll ask their parents to buy the products for them. Then we also have new health age adults. So sila naman, ang focus nila is their health and the health of the planet. So new health age adults. Okay, so that is the slide. So what I would like to do is to ask you guys, where would you fall in the categories that we talked about? Do you identify with actualizers, fulfilleds, achievers, experiencers,